Hi guys, today we're going to do a 10-month review of this beautiful 2023 ZX-6R. Let's go for a ride and I'll tell you about it. First of all, let's talk about performance. Will this bike perform? Yeah, it will. For a 600 series, it performs quite well. The horsepower on this is right around 114. You can get a tune and probably get it up to around 125, close to 130. The torque on this motorcycle is around 46, and it will go. The gas mileage averages 42 miles per gallon. I think if you're driving very gently, you could probably get close to 50, but if you're getting on it, it gets about 37 miles per gallon. The handling on this motorcycle is really good. It is very nimble. It will cut and slice and turn. It's a light bike, not heavy at all. Weighs around just over 400 pounds. It's got fully adjustable front and rear suspension. The brakes work really nicely and stop the bike very quickly. This particular bike does have ABS. I do recommend ABS for any of these bikes. However, if you're going to get on the track and you're just super track savvy and you don't want ABS, then you can get one without ABS, or you can take the ABS off of it. This particular bike is a 6-speed, and it has what's called auto blip up and clutch down, meaning that you can change up gears from first to second all the way up to 6 without using the clutch, or you could use the clutch if you want. And when you downshift, you need to use the clutch. The electronics on this motorcycle is really good. This particular one has an analog tachometer, and everything else is electronic. It tells you quite a bit of information. It tells you which gear you're in, the time. Over on the right, it measures how much gas you have and the temperature of the engine, the miles per hour. It has odometer readings, how far the motorcycle has gone, and it has an A and B odometer reset. You can change between different settings. This particular one in the far lower right corner tells you the engine temperature, the air intake temperature, how many miles per gallon that you're currently getting, your average miles per gallon, how many miles you have left on the gas remaining in your tank. There's a setting where you can set it to full or low power. There's a KRTC, which is the traction control that Kawasaki has developed, and there are 3 levels. There's level 1, which provides you a light traction control for dry weather. There's a level 2, which requires you medium traction control. And then there's 3, which provides you heavy traction control for like wet weather. One other electronic feature it has is it has these 3, looks like octagons, and when they are showing up, that means you're getting good gas mileage. There's not a cruise control available on this motorcycle from the manufacturer, so you have to keep your hand on the throttle to keep it going. Ergonomics. This motorcycle has some really good ergonomics. It's built as a sport bike. It is one of the gold standards of 600 series sport bikes, one of the best ones out there. It has clip-on handlebars, meaning the handlebars are lower, and it causes you to lean forward over the tank in an aggressive style. It has a nice driver's seat where you can sit forward for quick turns and control, or you can slide your butt back for high speed and tuck positions. It is set up for a passenger. The seat is somewhat small, and they sit a bit higher than the driver, so they'll be able to see over the driver unless they're short. Currently, I have a cowl on this motorcycle, meaning I took off the back seat and put a cowl on the back. If your passenger is used to comfortable riding, it may not be as comfortable. It will be a very sporty ride for them. All the controls on this motorcycle are really comfortable. The clutch could be adjusted and put in a really good place. Also, the front brake has adjustments on it for small or large hands. The display is really clean and easy to read. The newer versions of this motorcycle, the 2024 on up, have an LCD display, which is really nice. I am 6'1.5", and the tuck is comfortable. My elbows do end up outside my knees. If I slide my butt all the way back, my elbows are on top of my knees. It would be considered a bit of a smaller sport bike than like the ZX-10 or some of the leader bikes that are out there. The style of this motorcycle is really sexy. It is a beautiful motorcycle. It looks very aggressive. It has an air scoop in the front that is actually a true air scoop that sucks in air for the engine. The KRT version is really beautiful, and usually their premium look for a bike. It is definitely not a low profile bike. What does KRTC give you? It is the paint job. Everything else on the ZX-6R is the same except for the paint and the decal and the logo and the style of the motorcycle. They do make the 636 in a black and a white, and every year they change up the colors, it seems, so you can kind of pick which color you like. Usually they only have about 3 colors to pick from. I had what's called a tail tidy done to this motorcycle. When you purchase one of these brand new, it has a black plastic thing that hangs over the back tire with lights on it, which is a requirement that the US has for all the bike to make sure that the indicators are big enough and bright enough to meet all the federal guidelines. I took that off and put a tail tidy on there. It looks a whole lot better. The fairings are really beautiful and modularized, where you can get them off and put some race fairings on if you wanted to, or you could take the race fairings off, put the stock ones back on. Practicality. I would consider this motorcycle not extremely practical, mainly because it doesn't get really great gas mileage. It gets pretty good. Also, the low clip-on handlebars and the riding position is a bit aggressive. It's not as practical as you'd want, but it's not built to be practical. It's built to be more of a sporty track bike that works on the street. The passenger seat is very small and minimal, so it's not real practical if you're going to have a passenger. I would think if you daily commuted with it, it would be very possible. But what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of wind. The stock windscreen is smaller than what I have. I have a Pewig windscreen, which is a bit larger, and it's still not blocking all the wind, of course, unless I get in a really good tuck. Apparently these bikes do ride for a long time, and you can get a lot of good life out of them. The Kawasaki ZX-636 does have a lot of credibility when it comes to low maintenance and low problems. If you want to do a lot of the maintenance on this bike yourself, you can. It's pretty simple. Cleaning the chain, changing the oil, changing the oil filter. You could swap out the brake fluid, the coolant. There's really no valve adjustment or any other adjustments that you need to have done. You can actually swap the tires out yourself too if you get the right tools. It's a bit of work to do that. I try to do it all myself because I want to know exactly what I'm riding, and I don't want any unknowns. Value for money. The cost of this bike new is around $11,500, and if you get ABS, you add another $1,000, so it's about $12,500 for ABS. For what you're getting, it is a very nice bike. It is solid. Very few issues with this bike. I would say if there were a lot of problems with this bike, it wouldn't be worth it, but Kawasaki has their manufacturing down. This particular bike is not made in China, it's made in Japan. They are sure to build the engine and the components in this bike in Japan because it's one of their premium sport bikes that they have. Not all their bikes are made in Japan, but this is one of them. You can pick these bikes up used, depending on the mileage and the year, anywhere between $6,000 and $10,500. If you want last year's model, you could probably get it for maybe $1,000 less than retail, but that's about as good as it's going to get, I think. You get a lot of bike for the money. You get a very fast bike. You put a tune on this bike, it'll go up to 160 miles per hour. Stock, it does about 153. Enthusiasts will buy a used one and then start fixing it up and improving on it and making it useful. They will even buy wrecked ZX-6Rs and put them back together and sell them. This particular bike, the 2023, and a few years before that, had this same dash with an analog tachometer. The newer bikes, 2024 and up, have a digital dash. It's colorized. It looks really good. Some of the older 636s may not have traction control. The new ones do. You can turn it off if you want. Not every 636 has ABS. It has to specifically say that it has ABS. The 2024, 2025 ZX-6Rs apparently have some sort of issue going on with them, with a recall on the engine, and apparently some folks have had their engine have some issues, but Kawasaki seems to be trying to make it right, and they want you to bring your motorcycle in and have it fixed. There hasn't been a lot of change in a very long time on the engine. I think some of the newer engines, 2024, 2025, they are trying to make adjustments on them to bring some torque down low, and also they're having to play the dance trying to keep emissions low to be able to sell their motorcycles in Europe and in the US. What is good about the ZX-6R? It is very reliable, it is very fast, it's very fun and exciting, and it's a visceral ride. It's really fun. There are very few mechanical issues with it. It is a gold standard in the 600 series of bikes between all the manufacturers. All of the parts on it seem to be really good quality. The brake, the aluminum frame, the fully adjustable shock. The rear view mirrors I like to be able to know what's going on behind me, and they are really nice. They stick out pretty far. Some people take them off and go mirrorless. I think that's a personal preference. The gas mileage is not as good as like a Ninja 650, but the bike is not meant to be practical for good gas mileage. It's meant to go fast and to provide a lot of horsepower. What I really love about this bike is how nimble it is. It is like a carving knife. You can carve up the road, you can twist and turn and flip from one turn to the other direction really quick. It is fast. A lot of the weight is down low. It is very precise when driving. Some of the larger bikes are more like sledgehammers, but this is more like a carving knife. What do I think Kawasaki could do to improve this bike? It would be nice if it had auto blip down. It does have auto blip up, which is good. The auto blip up feature, it's not great. It's pretty good. It does work. You have to be applying acceleration to it for it to work properly. If you're just cruising without accelerating, a lot of times it won't auto blip up. Another issue I have with this bike is the gas cutoff. The electronics are set up to where when you just start letting off the gas, it gets to a point where the gas is cut off and you get a forward jerk like that. And then when you get back on the gas, you get a pull, a forward pull, because the gas turns back on. They probably do that for emissions reasons, and they have to try to meet the emission standard. That can be fixed. I'm actually going to have that fixed here this month. I'm going to have a tune put on my bike, and a tune will fix that. I've noticed too, when I come to an intersection in the middle of a city and I'm stopped and it's hot, the bike's temperature will start going up, and when it gets to a certain temperature like 215 degrees Fahrenheit, the fans kick on. The fans do cool it off and keep it cool. One of the things that the tune is going to do is going to kick on that fan a little bit earlier. Instead of 215 degrees, I'm not sure the degrees, it's going to kick it on maybe around 210 or 205 to keep the engine cool. Once the bike starts getting pretty warm, 215 to 220, I do smell a little bit of antifreeze. The muffler does a really good job keeping the noise level down. If you like more of an aggressive ride, you can install an aftermarket exhaust. And if you install that aftermarket exhaust, be sure to get a tune on your bike, because you will lose a lot of horsepower. The tune is set up for the OEM exhaust. I understand the tune also does make the auto blipper smoother. And who is this bike for? This bike is for anyone that wants to drive aggressively and have fun. It's not built too much as a daily commuter, but if you feel really sporty and you want to be aggressive, you can daily commute on it. You'll need a backpack. I don't think it's built for a new rider. If somebody is learning how to ride motorcycles for the first time, any sort of bike with clip-on handlebars is going to be a super challenge for you. It's going to keep your motorcycle knowledge down. You're going to want to be able to do slow maneuvers. This bike doesn't do slow maneuvers too well. It will do them, but not as well as like a Ninja 650 or a Ninja 400. If you have a motorcycle that does not have clip-on handlebars, that's going to be better for a new rider. If you're interested in getting on the track and maybe doing some upgrades to the bike, this bike would be superior on the track and do really well. I did do one track days and noticed, however, that a lot of the advanced bikers on the track use leader bike. What are my plans for this motorcycle? I plan on keeping it. This one will stay in the garage. I don't know if I could ever get rid of it because it does fill the area of excitement and fun and carving the road and going in twisties and having an aggressive sport bike seating position. Hey guys, hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe and ring that bell down there so you'll get notified when the next video comes available on Street Moto Z. Woo!